this time management. Can anybody quickly tell me what is management?
Managing all the things properly, managing the things.
Correct. Great. Thank
Managing
you.
the available resources.
Wonderful. Thank you, Shashi. So, I mean, I think it's wonderful. These simple definitions of managing the available resources. If I have 100 rupees with me, how do I manage is my managerial ability. If I have 500 people to manage in a company, my managerial ability is utilizing their resources effectively. If I have 1 hour time available to me, how do I manage that time that's available to me? So this is management. Management, for instance, I've deliberately broken this word management into parts, and then the available space, the space that's available here, I have utilized. So that is, I mean, one way of utilizing the available resources, which is management, and that's what we are going to consider today. Before we begin, I have a few questions. You need not answer these questions, but just think them over. What are your biggest time wasters? So you might be certainly wasting a little time or a lot of time on things that perhaps are not very important to you, that you need not do immediately, but still you might be wasting on them. So think of a few things like that. Then what are you already doing to manage your time better? Do you have a strategy? Do you have a plan? Have a structured action plan so that you manage your time better? If you have an action plan, that's great. If you don't have an action plan, you need to begin planning it now. What could you be doing better? So is there something that you've been doing, of course, but you are not very comfortable doing that way, and you think that there are better ways of doing those things, and in case there are better things doing that, so have you begun working on them? And finally, what is one thing that you would like to do, that take from here? You can write in the chat box, what is one thing that you would like to learn from this session of mine for about the next 60-65 minutes? So what is your take home from this, expected take home?
How effectively and how efficiently we can manage our time.
How efficiently can we manage our time? Yes, very good. How do we do more in less time? Accuracy, with accuracy and precision. Managing the time more effectively. Very good. Thank you very much. How to prioritize? Oh, that's a good one. Sometime time management strategies, sometime management strategies. How to plan our work, how we can utilize our time. Thank you very much, all of you. Let's move on from here. I'm going a little faster because I think we have lost a little time. We'll try to make it up by going a little faster. So I request all of you to switch on your cameras and switch off your microphones for the next few minutes. I give you some instructions. So please switch on your camera so that I can see you. You have to do a thing now, an activity now. All of you, when I finish my instructions, after I stop talking, when I say begin, you have to close your eyes. And after closing your eyes, just be quiet. Don't do anything. I'll also remain quiet. And when you think 1 minute is over, right? When 1 minute is over, just open your eyes and wave your hand like this. Don't disturb anybody. Don't make any noise. Your microphones will be are already switched off, I think. So just open your eyes, look around, and then wave your hand. Are you all ready?
Yes, sir.
Are all your cameras on?
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yeah, your time starts now. Close your eyes and open after 1 minute. Okay, all of you can open your eyes now. I just would like to share with you that the first one to open the eyes was at 27th second. When it was 27 seconds of already one had opened the eyes. And when I waited for 1.5 minutes, actually 90 seconds, still there were many people who had not still opened their eyes even after the 90th second. So what does this mean? I mean, some of you might have counted numbers in your mind. Some of you might have made a vague guess of what 1 minute is. But I mean, I think maybe about 25% of you, I'm not very sure about the number, maybe about 25% of you were very nearly accurate, 55 seconds to 65 seconds. That's when you opened your eyes. Anyway, that's not important. What I would like to tell you is that many of us do not know how long a minute is. Many of us do not know how long a minute is. Do many of us do not know what a lifetime is. So that's why I think we often fail to utilize the time that we have at hand. We often fail to recognize, I mean, how long has it been, how long it will be, how long do we have, how long do we not have, and these kinds of things are difficult to guess because we do not realize the length of time precisely. Let's see a video. So this video gives us an idea of what happens in the world in 60 seconds. Actually, this is an old video. It's about 2 years old. But 2 years ago, already the numbers are, I think, mind-boggling. Huge numbers that happen in a minute. Art, I would like carefully listen to it and remember at least one thing that you hear. There are many things that are talked about. At least remember one thing. If I ask you, you must be able to tell me what is it that happens in that 60 seconds. Are you all ready to watch the video?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Just listen carefully. You need to listen to it and watch it.
Amazon founder Jeff Bezos will earn around $150,000 whether he's sleeping or awake. The average worker in one of Amazon's warehouses will rake in 25 cents, if working, of course. A factory garment worker in Bangladesh might get in the region of half a cent. Around 83,300 people in the world will have sex. All that getting it on will lead to about 258 births, 113 of them into poverty. 108 people will die, 2.2 from car accidents and 18 from starvation. 59 weddings will take place. The Facebook like button will be hit 28,166,700 times. There will be 3.8 million Google searches. More than 80,000 people will visit the website Pornhub, and almost 3 hours of content will be uploaded. 208,333 people will be in a Zoom meeting. 69,444 jobs will be applied for through LinkedIn. 404,444 hours of Netflix content will be streamed. In the US alone, 2 violent crimes will be committed, 3 burglaries, and about 18 thefts. In the entire world, about 144 people will move houses. 15,950 land animals will be killed to be eaten just in the US. If you include aquatic animals, it's 105,190 deaths. 950,186 pounds of trash will be thrown out in just the US. 1 million plastic bottles will be sold around the world. 1,800 stars will explode. 288,000 will be born. Your brain will process 600 million bits of visual information. If resting, your heart will pump 1.5 gallons of blood. The hair all over your body will grow a total 1.1 inches. You'll lose 30,000 to 50,000 skin cells.
Okay, I think that's some interesting statistics. You need not answer the questions. I just asked you to listen carefully. That's why I told you that you need to answer a few questions. Don't worry. So, such is the dimension of life. So many things keep happening around every second. It's impossible to, visualize the kind of the magnitude of the things that are happening around. How much do we lose if we lose 1 minute? How much do we lose if we lose 1 second? Is a very important, precious concept, a value that we need to inculcate, that we need to appreciate. The moment we realize that time is precious, time cannot be substituted, the time cannot be recreated, time cannot be lost. And once we realize that, it becomes easier for us to manage our time better. Move on. So there is 2 kinds of time. This is what we need to understand to appreciate our time and manage our time better. There is a clock time. Clock time is uniform to everybody. That means my 60 minutes is your 60 minutes. My day is your day. My 1 year is your 1 year. My lifetime may not be exactly a lifetime, but my 70 years is your 70 years. So whatever the clock tells us is the uniform time. This is uniform to everybody. So if a minute is a minute to me, a minute is a minute to you also. The same 60 seconds for you and the same 60 seconds for somebody else. Whether you are in America or in India, whether you lived 100 years ago or today, whether you are a professor or a layman, whatever, irrespective of all these things, time remains constant, and that is called clock time, right? And we cannot change that. We have no control over that. We hardly have anything to do with it, and we have to accept it. There is a second concept of time. This is called real time. Real time is what we do in that clock time. For instance, what I do in 60 seconds is not the same as what you do in the same 60 seconds. How far do I run in that 60 seconds is different from how far you run in that 60 seconds. So, real time is not uniform, it's relative. My real time is different from your real time. What I achieve in 70 years certainly is not the same as somebody else who achieves something higher, something lower, something bigger, something nobler, something humbler in that 70 years. So, what we do in the given time is real time, and what is uniform to everybody is clock time. Once you realize these two things, we stop complaining. I did not have time, or I don't have time to do this. I did not get enough time. I could not write the exam in that 3 hours that was given to me. So this kind of complaint should stop. So whatever, that same 3 hours is given to everybody for an examination, but some achieve more. So maybe I'm not able to utilize that 3 hours that's given to me in the best possible way. That's why I'm not doing as much as somebody else is doing. So don't worry about clock time, which you have zero control over, but worry about your real time, which you have 100% control over. Please stop me in case you have any questions, because I'm going too very fast. Rather, I know that I'm rushing. Right. So very often we hear people have these complaints. People say, "I don't have enough time. I wish I had more time. I'm doing too many things at the same time. That's why I'm not able to do this. I have so much of office pressure, and that's why I'm not able to give time to my family. I have so much of workload at my college, and that's why I cannot spend my time with children. My poor time management is seriously affecting my life." These are the complaints that we often hear from people around. I wish I had more time. If I only had more time. These are, very often we all, even I, you, everybody must have made these complaints often. So juggling too many balls is not possible to somebody who has not, become an expert in it. It's a very simple thing for somebody who has learned the art of it. So doing too many things perhaps is not the problem. Inability to do those things in the given time is the problem, right? Maybe I will wait for a minute for you to switch on your microphones and tell me why should we manage our time? Maybe three or four of you. Why do we?
Because time is limited.
Thank you, Nishibrita. Time is limited. That's why we need to manage it. Thank you. We don't have too much of it. We don't. We have a limited time.
To maximize our productivity.
Sorry, please say that again.
To maximize our productivity, sir.
To maximize my productivity. I want to do more. If I know how to manage my time, I can do more. Yes. Thank you.
In order to meet deadlines.
To meet deadlines. Anthony, thank you very much. So deadlines are bound to be there in any profession, anytime, wherever I am. And if I know my deadlines, and if I also know how to manage my time, it becomes easier for me. Right? One more answer, one last answer.
I think to be efficient and effective, we need to manage time.
Yeah, we need to be effective. We need to be efficient. We need to know how to do things in the given time. And to do all this, we need to know how to manage time. Thank you, all of you. And let me give you a few answers on the screen. So to make the most of the available time. So the time that's given to me is limited. And how do I make the most of it? To make the most of means to take advantage of that, to achieve the best possible, to achieve the most possible. Be more successful. Anyone who knows how to manage time naturally achieves more in life. He is more successful, he or she. So we need to manage our time better so that we can, because the prime minister, the pauper, the prime minister, the peon, whoever, whatever you are in your life, wherever you are. So the time is the same that you get, but some people try to succeed in achieving much more, and they are more successful. We can accomplish more time, so in less time, so that we can spend that available time with our family. We can relax. We can spend it on leisure with friends, etc. We can improve the quality of our work. Sorry, had somebody said something? improve the quality of work. If I know how to achieve more, for instance, an Olympic champion, a cricket player in a T20. So whatever, whether you are a sportsman or a politician or an industrialist or a businessman or a family man, whatever, the quality of your work will be better in case you know how to manage your time. You can finish the projects in time. Somebody said this already. You can avoid things becoming urgent, and you can be more reliable. If people know that you can manage your time best and you can achieve whatever is assigned to you in the given time, they trust you. Tomorrow they'll give you a bigger responsibility. They trust you more, and you become more dependable. These are some advantages of managing time, and that's why you need to learn to manage time. All of you, please open your QR code and QR code reader and shoot that you see on the screen, and write one or two things that you would like to do better in case you know how to manage your time. The question is things you would like to do differently, better, more effectively, more efficiently, if you could improve your time management skills. If you don't know how to, if you don't have a QR code reader on your phone, you can go to Slido and you can give this pin number 2844197. Yeah, I've started getting answers. So here are some answers that I see. Wow, good. Focus on mental health and physical exercise, somebody's answer. Stop social media. Yeah, 2844197. If you go to Slido. Read books, meditation, I like it. I would spend more time with my son, and I also love this. Yeah, yes, spending time with family is a priority. Spend time with myself. Whoever said that, great. Do more things for myself. Writing PhD thesis, that may be already an important top priority for you. Read more. Improve teaching methods. Physical activities. Spend time with the daughter. Excellent, excellent. Can you see the screen on your?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to see?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
These
Yes,
are the
sir.
answers that you are giving. Or
Yes.
already some 29 people. You can see it on the top right. 29 people have answered so far. Spend time with family, physical activities, dance. Lovely, good. That's your passion, I think. Music. Somebody said music. Somebody said dance. Somebody said blues lessons. Will be more punctual, work-life balance, work and pension, compensation. What's that? I don't know. Gossiping with friends. So that's again a waste of time, not productively utilized. If the word gossip, spend time is okay, but gossiping, okay, right? Physical activities, travel. Oh, I also love that. Okay, shall we stop here? Shall we go back to the class? Manage our time better. So in case you want to do all that you've shown on the screen, in case you want to achieve more, in case you want to be successful, in case you want to be managers of your time, better managers of your time. So there are a few tips that I can give you. One of the first things that we need to learn is to delete. Delete means do away with, not do. So you have to identify things that you don't really need to do. Even if you do not do them, your life will not be very badly, seriously, negatively affected. So maybe make a list of things that you need to do or that you are planning to do. Identify those things that you may not be very seriously impacted if you do not do them. And all those things, you delete them from your list. This is an art. This sounds easy, but it is not. We do not know what are the things that we can delete. Very, very, very large number of us do not know what are the things that we are doing because we don't audit our time. We audit our money, like we have a budget for our money. Many of us do not have a budget for our time. So tomorrow I have 24 hours. What are the few things that I would like to spend my time on? Which of those things can be avoided? Which of these things can be completely deleted from my list? Tomorrow I'm planning to do this, but this is not really essential for my professional growth, from my career, from my long-term goals, from my short-term goals, from those points of view. And if you identify them and if you're able to delete them, this is your first success. Then there are things that need not be done right now. You can delay them, you can postpone them. There is not, there's nothing very serious that will impact you in case you delay them also. It can be done later too. So if you identify that second list of things that are not really very essential for now, so if you identify them and you can delay them, this is the second thing that you need to learn. The third thing, I think again, a very, very difficult task for many of us. Many of us think that we can do things on our own, and we would like to be, we call ourselves perfectionists. We don't trust others, or we don't have people around to help us. We don't know how to approach people. We don't know how to seek support from others, or we don't believe that others can do things as good as we can do. And that's why we do not pick up the art of delegating our responsibilities. It can be even described in the context of a classroom. In a classroom, for instance, students given me responsibilities, starting from wiping the board clean to doing lots of other things. For instance, you are organizing an activity. Students can be involved. When I was a teacher, every time I needed to distribute a handout, I would never, spend even half a minute or 1 minute on that. I would just divide the handouts that I had in my hand into 3 or 4, and I would give some 3 or 4 different ways, and students would do that. So in case we delegate small responsibilities like that in a classroom and bigger responsibilities in life, I think we'll be much more successful. Delegation, again, is a important subject that needs a full-time talk, but I just would like to realize the importance of delegation. Identify what are the things that I need not do myself. There are people who can do as good as I do, or there are people who are better than me, or there are people whom I can train. Because I think people think that if a person cannot do something equally as good as you think that you need not delegate that responsibility. What happens? Suppose I spend 10 minutes on doing a thing, and somebody else takes 20 minutes to do that, right? Because it takes 20 minutes instead of 10 minutes. I think delegation is a useless job. But what happens? See, suppose you train that person and you train him to do 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, and you give 5 responsibilities that you have, which you can do in 10 minutes each. Your 50 minutes becomes 20 minutes because all of them are doing the same job or different jobs. So, look at it like that mathematically. So you're actually saving time when you are giving responsibilities to people. Maybe it can happen in the department, it can happen at the college level, it can happen within the family, or if you own a business, it can happen in the business, etc. And finally, there are things that must be done by you and must be done by you now. So identify those things. They are your top priorities and you must do them and do them. So either delete, remember them as 4 Ds. So delete some, delay some, delegate some, and do some. The top 2 are very important. Do and delegate are very important. Delay and delete are things that are not really very highly essential for the time being. Paushali, do you have a question?
Yes, sir. Regarding the delegation, just one experience that when we used to work on our IQAC things, okay, we needed documents from other departments or other people. Like I am ready, quite a few people are ready, but we got delayed because some people didn't submit, and they are so reluctant that they don't feel like meeting deadlines. In that
So
case,
whose
what should
mistake
be
is
done?
that? Whose mistake is that? Is that a mistake with the person who delegated, or is it the mistake with the person who is delegated that responsibility? So maybe the one who delegated did not realize the potential of the person to whom the job was given. You did not realize whether that person is capable of doing that, is willing to do that. Has he been trained to do that? He has not been supervised, perhaps. You did not check whether they were doing it or not. Finally, you failed because your strategy was wrong. Or maybe if your for instance, you gave them 2 days time. After half a day, if you checked that they were not doing, you could have shifted the responsibility to somebody else, or you could have taken over. The things that were not happening the way you wanted them to happen, intervening, or giving the responsibility to somebody else, guiding, supervising, and finally ensuring that your job is done is your job. Delegating is, that's why I told you, delegation is a big art. It is not just asking somebody to do things. right? For instance, when you give a family member a responsibility, suppose you ask your son to do something, you check 2 times, 3 times, 4 times whether he has done it or not. If he's reluctant, if he's incapable, if he's not properly trained, you go and do that. Or you train him. No, no, this is how it is done, right? Okay, so that is maybe if I get an opportunity to talk to you about delegation some other time, we'll spend a lot of time on that. Right. So these are a few things that we need to keep in our mind, the things that you see on the right side. So be punctual, right? Mind your deadlines. I think the most successful people are those who maintain deadlines, especially in industry, especially in academics, especially in business. If deadlines are not met, your big business trust is lost. Your trust is lost. Nobody will come back to you a second time like this, in this case, or Shali's case. So if somebody has not done your job, and he is not going to get that responsibility again till he gets trained, until he becomes a little more passionate, till he is properly ready to take up that responsibility. So beat your deadlines. The college has lots of deadlines. Finishing the syllabus is one. Submitting assignments is one. Somebody wrote PhD thesis, you would write it. If you had more time, you would write the PhD thesis. So these are the deadlines. So by this time, I must do. So deadlines are important, and deadlines decide our success. Meeting deadlines is an important thing in life. Then focus, avoid distractions. I'll come back to this a little later. Prioritize. So this is prioritization. Do, delegate, delay, delete. Within this, among the things that you do, prioritize. So what are 5 things that you need to do? And among those 5 things, which is the first one that needs a lot of attention immediately, right? Have a clock and an organizer reminder. Luckily for us these days, there are lots of electronic tools available to us, digital tools available to us. Our mobile phone itself is a wonderful, helpful tool on which almost everything can be done. There is a calendar built in. There is a notification built in, there's an organizer built in. So many other things that are built into your mobile phone. One single instrument is a one in all. If used productively, if used positively, if used meaningfully, I think the mobile phone itself is your success, right? Track time spent. This is what I call auditing. So after you have spent your day today, tomorrow, if you know how to audit, what did I do 24 hours yesterday? Was there any time that was wasted? Was there any time spent yesterday that was not useful to achieve my long-term goals? Did I spend my time productively? How much time was spent on this? How much time did I spend on cooking food? How much time did I spend on going to college? How much time did I spend on preparation for my next class? So if you begin planning your organizer like that, and then if you begin auditing your time, you'll be a great manager of time very soon. Plan some buffer time. So these days with kind of things, every day, everything does not happen exactly the way we want it. So we think this can be done in 30 minutes and you need to do it in 25 minutes. Maybe the bus gets delayed, or maybe there is traffic. Maybe there is something else. The previous lecturer has not finished the lesson and she has not come out right in time. Like it happened today. I was there waiting at 5 to 10 and maybe I lost about 15 to 20 minutes because maybe I was not seen. I had not switched on my camera. Perhaps that's one of the reasons. So I was not seen. I lost my time. So maybe buffer time. So I have an alternative plan. I have maybe I must be able to do it in a time shorter than I had planned to do it in. Right. So this is called the time management matrix. So if you understand this, I think you will be a great manager of your time. Some of you might already know it, but let me explain it to you in a little more detail. So there are 4 boxes here. So on the horizontal side, you have the urgent things and not so urgent things. Things that are not urgent, that need not be done now, and things that must be done now. And on the vertical side, you have things that are important to you and things that are not important to you. So it's a matrix of 4 boxes. Let's see what happens in each one of them. So on the bottom right, so here, things that are not urgent and things that are not important, we have what we call trivia. Does anybody know what are trivia? Trivia? Trivial? Trivia?
Trivial things. Small things.
Useless
unimportant things. Small things.
Yeah, unimportant, useless things.
Less important.
Least important, not important, useless.
Your value.
Yeah, irrelevant. Yes. Yeah, so these are trivia. Let's see one or two examples. So trivia are time wasters, chatting with people on unimportant things, useless things. Surfing, sometimes we just start surfing and we go, I mean, the web is like a forest and it's an uncharted forest. If you go in, you go on deep inside, and then you cannot get out at all. You start searching for something on the web and you go somewhere else, some other site, some other website, somewhere else, and finally you do lose track of time and you cannot get it. It happens to most of us, right? Watching cricket, not playing cricket. Playing cricket perhaps is a wonderful thing, but watching cricket, I don't think it's anything useful at all unless you are a commentator, you are trying to watch cricket for learning, improving your English, or you're watching cricket, you are a statistician and you're calculating the mathematical formulas relating to scores. And yes, I mean, if you are a photographer, you are trying to capture some wonderful moments of that. So that means unless you are productively engaged in the game of cricket, just sitting in your sofa and watching cricket, eating all those useless things is, I think that's a trivia that must be eliminated. Oversleeping. See, our body needs sleep, but sleep also to a certain healthy extent. Maybe personally, I think maybe for people like you at your age, 6 hours may be an ideal amount of sleep every day, but maybe it's not fixed. It's not the same to everybody. Some people sleep longer, some people sleep less. But I mean, that the amount of sleep is not important, but maybe what I mean to say is oversleeping. Just because it's Sunday, I would like to sleep 2 hours longer. Just because I don't have any work, I would like to sleep longer. So this kind of spending or wasting time on sleep also can be non-productive, and in the long term, it may affect your chances of achieving your long-term goals. So, I mean, interpret every one of them in the right perspective. Don't argue with me and say, sir, cricket is this, sleeping is this is etc. All of them are good if they are used productively, but I'm looking at the negative side of them. How much, if you are a cricket lover, and if you call yourself a cricket lover, go and play cricket. If you are a cricket lover, do cricket photography. If you are a cricket lover, give some commentary. So, I mean, if you are just sitting and watching, this is a waste of, that's what I mean. So this is not urgent if you don't do it now, because there is going to be replay, there are going to be highlights, there are going to be lots of other things that are possible in case you want to keep track of the score. Tomorrow you can see the newspaper, and if you spend 5 minutes, you get it. You capture the precious moments of the game. I mean, something like that, the highlights, right? Or even that's not necessary if you're not a cricket fan, right? So this is not urgent. All these things that you see on the right side are not urgent, and they are certainly not important. So when you audit your time, ask yourself how much of your 24 hours is going into this that needs to be eliminated, deleted. These are the things that you must stop. These days, I think so much time we spend with WhatsApp, so much time we spend on phone. And if I'm reading a book on WhatsApp, if I'm reading something useful, if I'm chatting with a dear friend of mine, with my family member, those are not counted. But I mean, unfortunately, what happens, we get so very addicted to it, we watch everything. I think people like you must learn the art of deleting things even before you open the message. So, for instance, you received a message from somebody, you know that this fellow sends only useless messages. Even before opening and reading them, delete them. Or you remove that person from your list. If there is a group, for instance, which has been sending all things, maybe they call them entertainment, but for you, perhaps it's trivia. So get out of that group. You can exit that group. So these are the kinds of things that you need to do to eliminate them. Let's look at the second box. The second box is interruptions. What are it? You are an important job, something suddenly happens, and then you get distracted by it. There are interruptions. You are actually going out, and suddenly an unexpected friend comes, and then because this is unexpected, sometimes what do? You don't have the guts to tell them that you are an important work, you're leaving, and you come back, and then you open the door and you ask them to come in, and you forget that important work that you had. So these are all interruptions, distractions, unimportant calls. A telephone call that's not important, even without the calls, even if you don't receive that call, even if you don't make that call, or if you don't continue that call for long, you perhaps do not lose much. but still you take such call. Some notifications. See, I have a mobile phone here beside me, and what do? Every time I look at it, every time there is a notification, and some people have that sound enabled for the notification. Notifications can be silent actually. Why should they distract you? I know. In fact, I tried this. I told some of my friends to disable the sound and the notifications, but they don't do it. They love it. Every time they see they are talking to somebody, suddenly, ting, some sound comes and then they look at the phone. So they are distracted. So these are all distractions, interruptions, notifications, which are unnecessary. See, notifications also can be, filtered. For instance, if you think that something is very important, you can have a notification enabled only for that group, only for that chat, only for that person. It's possible. Settings, I think all of you perhaps are technologically savvy, and then you know how to do that. For instance, WhatsApp has 500 groups, and your family group is there, and you think family group chat, family group notifications are very important. You can enable them and disable the others. Possible. I think the technology allows that. So all such interruptions must be avoided. Right? This is the second box. The third one, emergencies. What are emergencies? An accident, an unexpected accident. You did not expect it, and suddenly while you are going, an accident happens. A baby crying inside, right? You have to rush there because the baby is crying there. You cannot postpone that. You cannot do anything else. You cannot neglect that. You must rush in. Urgent telephone calls from friends, family, principal, college staff, whatever, right? Crisis situations, deadlines, all these are very, very, very important. Emergencies, because they are urgent, they must be done now, and they are very important to us also. But remember, these emergencies should be reduced as much as possible. I think if you understand this one sentence of mine, your time management skills will improve. Shall I repeat that? What I said is emergencies must be reduced. How do you reduce that? Your baby will not cry if you know how to take care of the baby before she started crying. Is it her feeding time? Or is there some care that she needed has not been given? She wants a diaper to be changed and then you have not changed it in time and that's why she's crying? Or you did not take care of the environment there, an ant has bitten her and then she's crying. So you did not take proper care of that and that's why the baby is crying. An accident, why did it happen? An accident happened because 99% of the time, an accident happens because you are rushing, you started late, you lost time, or you are going the wrong way, you have made some mistakes somewhere else, and that's where the accident happened. You are driving and you are thinking of something else. If you had not done that, if you had started 5 minutes earlier, or if you had been a little more careful, the accident would not have happened. So all such emergencies need to be reduced. This is your success. PhD preparation, somebody wrote about PhD notes. So you have only 3 months left now. The deadline is over. Your registration will be cancelled or the guide is going to retire. Some such thing is happening. And then you have just 3 months. Why this 3 months is an emergency? Because you did not work for the remaining 3.5 years earlier. Those 3.5 years, perhaps you've been sleeping and did not work seriously on that. If you had known your deadline beforehand, you should have started working. I think students do that. Now students start preparing for examinations only 1 week before, 10 days before, and then they suddenly wake up the whole year. They're watching movies, they're watching cricket, they're wasting time, and suddenly it becomes an emergency. They keep awake throughout the night, and they suddenly become aware that the examinations are close by, and they work harder, strong. It affects them in many different ways. So these become emergencies because you did not attend to them when they needed your attention. And coming to the last one. The last one is planning. So what is not urgent but is important? This is another box. The top two boxes are very important to understand in detail. The bottom two perhaps you know already. The top box, the fourth box, is things that need planning, things that need focus, like your long-term goals, like your health, like exercise, like your profession, like your relationship, say all these things. So these are the things that you need to focus on. Don't mistake between emergencies and these focus areas or planning areas, because they are not urgent still. These are urgent. Baby crying is urgent. Examination 2 days ago, 2 days away is urgent. Examinations 3 months away is not urgent, but it is important. Health. When health becomes an emergency, you go to a hospital tomorrow, immediately. It's an emergency. You must go to hospital. But why has it become an emergency? It has become an emergency because you neglect your health. You did not do exercise. You did not wake up in time. You did not take the medicines that are prescribed properly. You did not eat well. You did not sleep well. Something happened here, right? Because it has become an emergency. Had you taken care of that, had you planned better, had you taken your medicines in time, had you eaten the right food, were you not tempted by some of the things that you're not supposed to do, had you planned properly, it would not have become an emergency. It would have been your planning area. This happens to Niti, please. Yes.
Sir,
Niti,
all
your
the
question?
yes, sir. If three situations are arises, all the three are equally equal emergency state. Then what will
Then
do?
again, you have to prioritize. If there are 3 emergency situations, you have to prioritize. If there are 3 focus areas, you need to prioritize. Prioritization is identifying which is more important, which is less important from your perspective. My emergency need not be your emergency. My focus area need not be for me your focus area. For instance, health is my top priority. I pay much more attention or immediate attention. I start building my health early. I am 20 now, I am 30 now, I am 40 now. I take care of my health. So I started, maybe I woke up late and then I started getting ready late. And then still, if I realize that this is a top priority, I'll start focusing on that before it becomes an emergency. Simple, take that examination example. So when do I start preparing for an examination? See, there are other priorities also. Like you said, there are 3 other priorities. So examinations is one priority, right? Maybe my family needs my attention. Another priority, my father is not well. That also is a priority. So these 3 or 4 priorities are there. Maybe what do I do? So I prioritize them. And after that, I also allocate time. How much time do I have? How can I divide the time available into equal portions or unequal portions depending on, again, their importance. So I realize that they are important to me and I start working them when they are not urgent. I'm repeating. So I realize things that are important. I identify things that are important to me. I start working on them before they have become urgent. So for instance, take these last 2, upskilling and upgrading. You are a lecturer now. Maybe you are in your 20s, 30s, whatever. So depending on how long you've been working or when did you get your job. So suppose you are 30, 35, whatever. So when do you start upskilling? It must be today onwards. So this is your focus area. Every single lecturer at whatever level you are appointed, at whatever state you are working, wherever you are, whichever university it is, and upskilling is a constant need for every teacher. Upskilling includes equipping yourself with knowledge, equipping yourself with the methodologies, equipping yourself with the skills, classroom management skills, etc. This is a lifelong journey for us. Suppose I neglect, what happens? I have not upskilled. I asked you one question last time when I did that SWOT analysis. So suddenly the university tells us, suddenly the college tells us that you must do this by end of next month. And unless you do that, you will not be given a promotion. You will not be given an increment. Then it has become an emergency. Neeti, yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a question, Neeti?
No, sir. No, sir. No.
Oh, you raised your hand. That's why I thought. Okay, it's okay. Right. Thank you. You can drop that hand, lower that hand. Right. So upgrading. So more skills, more diplomas. Luckily there are so many courses offered. Quite a lot of them free of cost, or quite a lot of them for a small fee available on the SWAM platform and many other platforms. There are so many distance courses. If you promise me that you'll not consider it boasting. So I became a lecturer in 1975, and from 1975 till I retired in 2012, that's about 37 years. During those 36 and a half, 37 years, I did no less than, if I'm not exaggerating, no less than 20 different diplomas or degrees while I was in service, while I was working. So how was this possible? Because there were quite a lot of opportunities for me. Distance education had just begun then, those days. So distance, we did not call it distance education. We used to call them postal courses, right? Courses by post. So I would receive an assignment. I would do that assignment. I'll send it, and they would evaluate it, and they'll send it back to me, right? I was in one of the first batches to do some diplomas when universities introduced them those days. So, I mean, why I'm telling you this is that this is the time for you. You are all young. And if you start upskilling and upgrading now, it will not become an emergency for you, right? And relationship building. Relationship building should never become an emergency. So you have a friend, you have a family member. Suppose for some reason or the other there is some misunderstanding and it has already become an emergency. If you don't do something, the relationship will break. The bond will break. So what do you do? Suppose your friend misunderstands you and there is a trust gap, and then you develop a difference of opinion and you stop talking to them, they stop talking to you, and it has become an emergency. Maybe in the next 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, the relationship is broken forever. So what do you do then? Suppose because it has become an emergency, in case you want that bond to be rebuilt, you have to rush to them and tell them that this is what you intended, this is not what you meant, this is the communication gap, this went wrong, you're sorry, some such thing. So this is what happens at the emergency stage. Suppose you don't want that at all. Suppose you plan long-term plan. So you realize that this is a bond that you want for a lifetime. And you sit together and discuss things that you have difference of opinion, you have difference of views on things, you belong to 2 different political ideologies, maybe whatever, and then you trash them out and then you sit together and discuss before some kind of an emergency it has developed into. So you know how to handle that. This is the focus area. So please learn to focus here, especially 2 things, your health and your profession. Of course, third is your family. 3 things. These 3 things you remember: your health, your profession, your family. These 3 perhaps should be, in my opinion, should be your top focus areas. If you take care of them, I think they will never become an emergency. Most importantly, health. I know quite a lot of teachers who, as they age, as they grow older, when they turn 50, 55, 60, before they retire, they fall sick. They develop diabetes, they develop body pains, they develop knee joint pains, they develop many, many other issues, right? So, I mean, and suddenly they realize that they cannot manage their lives well without attending to their health, and they need to go to a hospital and treat themselves. So diabetes can be at least managed better if you plan it here. So I'm 40 now, I'm not a diabetic. I will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. These are the things that I need to focus on so that I will not turn a diabetic. Of course, if there are possibilities of you turning a diabetic despite all that, if it's a genetic thing or if it's something else, there can be extraneous reasons. But you must have a plan. See, I'm not going to eat this. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do some exercise. I'm going to take care of my body. I'm going to get a frequent medical checkup. Suppose you have a plan of action, so you are planning. You are here. Is that clear, or am I going too very fast for you to understand?
Clear, sir.
No, so clear.
It's clear, sir. No
Very
problem.
smoothly, sir.
Fine, sir, fine.
Fine, fine.
Yes, sir, clear.
No
Sir.
problem.
I feel that I'm going too very fast. Right. Anyway, thank you. Right. So maybe some of you can answer these questions because I think it's already 11:15. I'll go a little quickly. So I'll do some of them. Prepare for your tomorrow's class. So where in this chart do you think it will go for you?
Emergency.
Box, this is box 1. This is box 2.
I think
Box 3. Box 4.
Box,
Okay.
Box
Tomorrow's
Urgent.
Box 1.
box 1.
Box 4.
1.
Tomorrow you have a class. Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock you have a class, and you are
Emergency.
preparing for it now.
Emergency.
Box 1.
Is it? Oh, yeah. Thank you. I think it's 3.
Yeah.
I think it's a 3.
Yeah.
If it's a reviewing your class, reviewing your preparation, maybe it's good. But if you're preparing for a class which is scheduled tomorrow, I think it has already become an emergency. Today evening, something may happen. A sudden,
Urgent and important.
unexpected friend may come. Correct. It's in
Urgent and
box
important.
3. It is here. It's box 3. It's urgent and important because tomorrow's class must be taken. And you're not prepared. You thought you would give time in the evening, and evening some other unexpected distraction happens. So that's why it is 3. Take this last one. Buy a new dress for the college annual day.
Trivia.
It's trivia. Thank you very much. So it's in box 4. So even if you by chance don't buy that new dress, your college day will not be postponed. Your college day will not change. Nobody will bother about your dress. I think your performance, in case you have a stage performance, in case you have some responsibility to perform on the college day, perhaps that's more important than your dress itself. Dress, of course, is essential. We must buy it. It's trivia. I think it's not really very. Read and forward all WhatsApp messages.
Interruptions.
Both. It's interruptions.
Trivia.
Correct. Very good. One more, last one. Watch a new movie releasing tonight.
Trivia.
Trivia, sir.
This one, set a question paper for an exam next month.
Planning.
Very good.
Planning.
Excellent. So of all these things, there are things like this which you need to focus on because there is a month away. There is plenty of time, but you are already setting your question paper and keeping it ready. So I think this kind of things, if you begin working on, I think you will never have any difficulty managing your time better. Typically, I give the example of paying your electricity bill. So the electricity bill has come on the 1st of the month. The deadline is the 15th. So typically, what do? We begin postponing. Oh, it can be paid on the 10th. No, when I'm passing that side, I can pay next month. I can pay next week. I can pay. So let me pay something like that. So you keep on postponing. Suddenly you realize at the 15th, oh, today is the deadline. I must go stand in the queue, or maybe the portal does not open. Something else happens, and you suddenly have the fear that electricity will be disconnected, some such issue. And in the olden days, we had to stand in a long queue to pay the bill. Now, these days, luckily, you can pay them online. But even sometimes, online payments also get delayed because of the server hanging or some such thing happening, etc., etc. Suppose the bill has come on the 1st. Anyway, you have to pay this money, and you have money. Suppose you pay it on the first day itself. That would be planning. So if you pay it today, it is box 4. And if you pay it on the 15th, on the day of the deadline, it is box 3. Right. Okay.
Sir, we can also delegate it like auto
Yes,
payment. We
certainly.
can activate that.
Correct. Delegation is one of the planning techniques. Delegation can be done any of those squares. All 4 Ds can be done in each one of the 4 squares. For instance, emergencies also can be delegated sometimes, right? Planning also can be delegated. Of course, nobody can do exercise for your sake. But when you are exercising for some other responsibility, you can delegate it to somebody. So you've decided to do your body exercise from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. But 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, the milkman comes and delivers milk. You cannot take milk. So you delegate that responsibility to somebody to open the door, lock, unlock, and then accept the milk, boil it, keep it ready for your coffee by the time your exercise is over. So delegation goes with any one of these things. Right. Thank you. Right. Let us see some obstacles that stand in the way of our ability to manage our time. So all these are. Can anybody read them? They may not be. It may not be very easy for you. I don't know if you can see the text easily. Can somebody read them?
Unclear objectives,
Right.
distractions, inability
Right.
to say no, health
Uh-huh.
disorganization, lack
Right.
of planning, too many things, stress and fatigue, personal commitments, procrastination, indecisiveness, professional obligations.
So these are all the obstacles that stand in the way of our ability to manage our time. So I want to manage my time, but unfortunately, I don't know how to say no. So my principal has given me a responsibility. I already have some family commitments. I also have some responsibility given to my by the head department or maybe some other colleagues or whatever. So there are 10 responsibilities that I've accepted. Why have I accepted? Because I have that inability to say no. I cannot say no. Actually, I know that I cannot do it. I cannot reach there by 5 o'clock, but I say yes. Somebody invited me to come at 5 o'clock. I know 5 o'clock is impossible for me to reach there because my work here closes only at 4:30 and it's 40 minutes journey time. So I don't say no. Okay, I'll manage. I'll come. I'll try to come. So when you cannot do or when you are sure that it's not possible, learn to say no. When you know that you have already enough work, I mean, say it courteously. Don't just say no. You can say, "Oh, I already am. Overburdened with a few other things. Please give me some more time. Or can I do it tomorrow instead of today? Or is it possible for it to be done some other time? Or do you mind giving it to somebody else at my recommendation? Or shall I do it a different way?" So there are very intelligent and also courteous ways of saying no. See, you do not want to deny help to anybody. You can offer help, but at the same time, you must know how much load you have and can you really do those things or not. And saying no is not, there is nothing wrong with that. We must learn to say no when it's not possible, right? Indecisiveness. Some people, I know, even to decide what to eat for breakfast, they spend an hour. They go to a hotel, the waiter comes and they tell the waiter, okay, come back later. We are still seeing the menu. So there are not many all. Actually, there is idli, vada, dosa. There are two or three things. In fact, if you're intelligent, you can decide what you want to eat even before you go to it. It's the same menu, no? Almost the same menu everywhere, unless you are going to a new hotel in a different place. So, but what do? So we take so long to decide whether to do this course or that, whether to go here or there, whether to watch this movie or that movie. I know quite a lot of people, they spend more time on changing channels than watching channels. Right, I have seen quite a lot of people. So all the time they're changing this channel, that channel. They don't watch any movie, any program, anything continuously. So I mean, indecisive. They don't know what to watch. In fact, before you start the television, suppose you have in your mind very clearly what is it that I'm going to start the television for. What is that I want to watch today? Suppose I have a very definite picture in my mind. I'll just start the TV and start the movie and sit back, relax. But some people are not like that, highly indecisive, right? Lack of planning, no clear objectives, stress, procrastination. Quite a lot of us, let me do to you tomorrow. Students. So the year starts in the month of July, and then they think, okay, why July? Let me enjoy. Let me start preparing for the exams in November. And November, they think, oh, it's already winter. Let me start in January. January, they think, oh, it's already 4 months away. Still, let me start later. So like that, they keep on postponing and they don't achieve much. And I think I have 7 minutes to finish. Obstacles. So let me also consider some strategies to overcome them. So I think they are all obvious. Again, can somebody read them? The strategies. What is this?
Set goals.
Right. Use waiting time.
Must learn to say no.
Learn to say no.
Audit your time.
What
Prioritize.
need, stay organized.
Stay organized. Use the device. Celebrate success one at a time.
Yeah, so these are some strategies that we can use to manage your time to overcome the obstacles that we considered in the previous slide. Suppose I do not have a clear set of goals, so I have to set goals. What is it that I want to achieve as a teacher? Do I want to earn a name as a great teacher? Do I want to earn a name for my subject competence? Do I want to earn some creative tools do I want to create as a teacher? Or do I want to become a teacher of teachers? Or do you want to become a vice chancellor in my life? So some professional goals. If the goals are clear, everything that I will do will direct me there. I'll ask myself every day, have I done something today to move me towards my final ultimate goal as a teacher? Otherwise, I'm just straying. So as long as I do not know where I am going, so nobody can reach a destination unless one knows clearly where one wants to go. If I don't know where I want to go, anywhere is my destination. isn't it? So I must know clearly what is it that I am doing here and why am I doing it here? Where do I want to go? Where do I want to be tomorrow? Where do I want to be after 10 years? Where do I want to be after 20 years? Before I retire, what should I become? What do I want to become? If that goal is clear, it's very easy for us, or it's much easier for us to manage our time, right? Use waiting time. So every one of us has a lot of waiting time. We go to the airport and the flight is delayed by an hour and we have to wait. We are commuting to the college by bus, and then there is some waiting time or there is some journey time, right? I go to somebody's place and then they are not ready, or something is not available, and then I need to wait. So every time I have a little waiting time, I must know how to use that. But typically what people do, they go on crying, shouting, and they go on becoming very frustrated. They curse everybody. They become very, very negative about that. Oh, suppose see, the flight is delayed. It's not going to come on time. Whatever in your capacity you do, that is fixed. Even if you talk to the Prime Minister, and if the Prime Minister is a close friend of yours, and the Prime Minister cannot send an alternative flight to you. So what do? Maybe you have 60 minutes. You can open a book and read. You can watch people around. You can go and have a cup of coffee. You can talk to you can return some telephone calls that have been pending. Yesterday you could not call somebody. So there are hundreds of things that can be productively done. Right? You can go around, do some window shopping. You can buy something that you've been planning to buy for a long time. So that is what I call using waiting time. In colleges, there are lots of times we have plenty of waiting time. Suddenly a class is cancelled. Suddenly students boycott classes. So suddenly all of a sudden the principal says this class is shifted there, that room is changed here, this thing has happened here. So there is something else, there is some so maybe you have some free time, some waiting time, etc. All this can be productively used, right? This is, I think I made a mention of this earlier. Using an organizer, extremely useful. In the olden days, it was a calendar, it was a tabletop calendar or some such thing. But today, luckily, as I told you already, you have a mobile phone on which everything is there. I started using my mobile phone as an organizer long ago, before people even knew that there was an organizer built into a phone. When my friends looked at me in surprise, oh, I never knew that there was a calendar on that. I never knew that there was an organizer on that. How beautiful it is. In fact, see, I don't know how many of you use your mobile organizer. Suppose you have 3 appointments or commitments tomorrow. If you feed them, the organizer automatically shows you in what order they happen, how much time you have allocated to them, and in case they send you a reminder. I think technology has made it extremely helpful, very useful, very easy for us to manage our time. Celebrate success. So it's a great idea to celebrate every time you succeed in managing. Yes, today I've made it in time. Today I've completed in 60 minutes. Today, for instance, it's 11:30 now. I am going to celebrate. 11:30, I'm going to close it. In the next 1 minute, I'm going to close the session. Right? So if you start celebrating every time you achieve success in time management, I'm sure you will be very, very easy to, very, very successful in utilizing your time. So that's where I'll stop. And I think